This video lesson focuses on subject-verb agreement. We will discuss how the subject and verb should agree, should make sense, and how to avoid common mistakes which are associated with subject-verb agreement. Before we go into it, recall from the previous class that a subject is the noun or noun phrase which does some action, and usually there is an object on which the action is performed. Subject-verb agreement states that a singular subject needs a singular verb and a plural subject needs a plural verb. The verb is the action word here, and the subject is who or what does the action. Subjects and verbs must work together. They must agree, they must make sense, the subject must exist. A verb that ends in a single s or es or ies is used with a singular noun. Some examples of singular subject and the verbs that go with them: old than, single person, billows. Little Anne shares, not share. Fire glows, mama fixes. Examples of plural subject and the verbs: if we add to old than little Anne, old Dan and little Anne, now it would be a plural verb. Below, bellow. The coon hounds, multiple hounds are there, they share. The two fires, they glow. Billy's parents fix. Further examples: the raccoon, which is a singular subject, jumps. So it goes with a singular verb, into the sycamore tree. The raccoons, now they are plural subjects, they jump into the sycamore tree. Little Anne is kind. Little Anne and old Dan are kind. Some rules to avoid mistakes. First one, don't be confused by plural words that come after the verb. They come after the word, those which come after the verb are usually the objects. It has to be subject-verb agreement and not the object-verb agreement. This example: Billy's biggest problem are the many sleepless nights. We have put are here in confusion that sleepless nights are plural, therefore. But sleepless nights are the problem. Sleepless nights are there, but we are talking about Billy's biggest problem, so it's a single problem. Right way is Billy's biggest problem is the many sleepless nights. Similarly, the hound search for mountain lions, or the hound searches for mountain lions. The subject here is the hound, action is that of searching, and the object is mountain lions. What are we searching? The mountain lions. So which one is correct? And here's the answer. It's the hound searches, single subject, single verb. Another one: old Dan see raccoons. Old Dan sees raccoons. What do we have here as subject? Old Dan. So what should be the verb? Singular or plural? Here we go. It should be a singular verb to agree with the singular subject. Don't be confused by plural words that come between a singular subject and the verb. Now this is especially when you are making complex sentences. It may happen that the subject is far away from the verb, and in between there are phrases by maybe noun phrases which are plural. They don't have any bearing on the verb. Only the subject, which is related to the verb, decides the verbs whether the verb will be singular or plural. This example, the topic of these books. The topic of these books makes it tempting to use a plural verb, but that is not correct. Ultimately, the subject is the topic. So the topic of these books is dogs. Next one, each of the dogs hunt well. Each of the dogs, we are talking about each of the dogs individually. Therefore, the subject is singular. And the correct formation is each of the dogs hunts well. Continuing the same, every one of the members of both hunting teams are here. Here the subject is everyone, and everyone is an indefinite pronoun. It is always singular. So the correct formation is every one of the members of both hunting teams is here. Have a look at this one. Each of the traps needs to be set. Each of the traps need to be set. Our subject is each of the traps individually. That makes it singular. Therefore, the correct answer is singular verb. And this one, the boy in the brown shoes. We have a subject followed by the preposition phrase in the brown shoes. Now the subject itself is boy, not the brown shoes. Therefore, the verb should be singular. Before we discuss this, we saw each of the members. Notice there are some other words, some of the members, many of the members. In that case, the verb will be plural. Coming to this, don't be confused by phrases such as along with, together with, accompanied by, as well as, including, and in addition to. These phrases are called as additive phrases because they are used to add items or merge one or two items together. The first example, little Ann as well as old Dan like to hunt. When you go with additive phrases, you have to look at the subject, the first subject, which is on the left hand side of the additive verb. In this case, little Ann is the subject. So little Ann as well as old Dan likes to hunt. Billy, in addition to all the other boys in the mountains, grow up loving hound dogs. In addition to is the additive phrase. On the left hand side is Billy. On the right hand side is all the other boys. As we discussed, the subject is the one which is on the left hand side. So Billy is singular. Correct formation is Billy, in addition to all other boys in the mountains, grows up loving hound dogs. Papa as well as Mama worries about Billy being out all night long. Here the subject is Papa and the verb should be singular. Cornbread, in addition to some warm milk, are good for puppies or is good for puppies? The subject is cornbread, so you might already know the answer now. It should be is.